Okay, every pony, time to shovel more slop onto the enormous landfill that is YouTube Let's Plays. Pay close attention to this tutorial, the way things are going in real life. If you're between the ages of 18 and 26, you might be doing this to people in real life in Iran pretty soon. Of course, in real life, they don't have big colorful buttons. Anyway, 4 characters you can pick from. We're gonna be the pretty lady. We're all pretty ladies on this blessed day. Gotta get the fish secret. That's right, I knew about the fish secret. I'm an old pro at this kind of stuff. But yeah, this series needs no introduction. It's Metal Slug. Everybody knows about Metal Slug. You can go ask your grandma, and she'll know all about Metal Slug. Oh yes, your grandfather did something similar to that in Vietnam. Anyway, yeah, they used to make these all the time back in the day. They'd just crank out a new one every year. I think the Neo Geo on its own had like 5 different Metal Slugs altogether. This was the popular thing. It was basically like the Ice Age of video games. Just make a new one year after year after year without slowing down even once. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, I guess development times were shorter back then and you could get away with that sort of thing because, you know, games were fairly simple back then. Compared to now when game development times are just totally crazy. There was an interview with the director of the most recent Final Fantasy 16, and he was talking about the fact that it takes 8 years and like a team of 100 people to make one of these things. He was basically saying we can't afford to keep doing this. Something's gotta change. We've either gotta start charging people more, or we gotta put microtransactions in it, or we gotta do something here. Something's gotta change, brother! And then the Final Fantasy director ripped open his shirt to reveal a Hulkamania shirt, and he said, "Oh yeah, brother!" Yeah.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, though, it's actually quite unfortunate that game development is in such a state where it's gotten to the point where the director of Final Fantasy had to make, oh my god, we've been turned into a DeviantArt viewer. Holy Moses. What was I saying? Anyway, yeah, it's just unfortunate that game development is such a long and expensive process now. It's like that's why there haven't been any games lately. The PS5's been around for almost 5.5 years now, and you look around, it's like, where are the games? Heifer, where have all my games gone?
I deleted all your games, Rocco. I threw them in the trash. All your games are gone.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, just in like 5 years, we've had what? We had that Dark Souls remake that was at launch. You had Astrobot, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 16, and that's about it, really. It's like you wonder. I don't know. I'm not an economist. Hey, look, we've got a cool tank now. That's something. You know, when I was in school once, I just remembered they had a footage of Tiananmen Square, just like a YouTube video, because they were trying to educate us on it. And the YouTube video had rather inappropriate music. It had like cool music about tanks. It was like tank, 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 bump, 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 tank. It's like, that's kind of inappropriate given the circumstances of what happened. You're being very disrespectful to the victims of a brutal crackdown. Losing the tank is going to make this fight exceptionally difficult because we can no longer move and shoot at the same time. So it's going to be this ongoing calculation of go back a little, fire, then go forward, and time it well enough that you don't fall off the platform. Although these tracers should help. Well, there they go. You know what they say, you can't take it with you when you go. Good Lord, this is gonna be completely brutal with just the pistol. Whatever is a poor wallaby to do. Hey, you know what this reminds me of? Crab battle! Crab battle! Snake, what's going on? Crab battle! Oh, Leo, 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 Leo. I'm hoping you guys know what that was a reference to, otherwise it's just gonna sound like complete schizophrenia. But yeah, that was a big thing back then. Crab battle. Okay, on to level 2. This one's got a Halloween theme. Happy Halloween, viewer. So, since this is the third game in the franchise, by the way... Oh my god, we have to save Alexander Lukashenko. But anyway, since this is the third game in the franchise, by the way, they start introducing some gimmicks, some new ideas that weren't there before. When you see what the gimmick of this level is, you won't believe it. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. See, there it is. There it is. They will turn you into a zombie. And it doesn't just impair your movement, there's new things you can do as well, there are benefits. See, like that. You can do that. Okay. You know, my buddy Eric actually did that in real life once. It was crazy. I gotta wonder how they did that effect. I mean, obviously it's just a sprite, or multiple sprites, but visually it behaves like a liquid. How did they do that? SNK certainly knew their sprite art back in the day. Talented people were working at that company. Before they got bought out by the Saudis anyway. That's a shame. You know, when that news first dropped, you just kinda try to make a prediction based on how things have always worked and what you consider normal, and you think, okay, well, they just want a cut of the money. They're just going to sign the paychecks. The Saudis aren't going to, demand, bizarre changes to the actual content of SNK games. And then, sure enough, the thing that I said wouldn't happen is what happened. They demanded changes to SNK games, and that's why you can play as Cristiano Ronaldo in a fighting game now. What's this crazy world of ours coming to? You see, we have a monkey companion now. When we opened up that cage a moment ago, I was expecting it to be like in the Rayman games where you open the cage and then the level's over and it goes, yeah! Yeah, that is indeed how the Rayman games typically end. You see, they had that Rayman collection they released on Steam. I'm glad they at least put some special features in it instead of just putting a PS1 ISO on Steam and expecting people to buy it. There's some kind of value-added proposition. There's extra levels, there's developer interviews. They got all those other things to actually make it worthwhile. I'm gonna do a cool trick, watch this. Bam! Got them all at once. Hail to the yeah. With skills like that, I could play this at AGDQ. I could be like that poor man who tried to play Tomba 2 at AGDQ, and a complete fucking stranger sat next to him on the couch and tried to turn his run into a Game Grumps style show where he had to comment on everything. It's I can't imagine. That's the thing, I think most people don't realize how cringy that whole thing is because they assume that was the guy's friend that was doing it. It's no, that was literally just a complete stranger who just came up to him and started doing that. He just did not know social boundaries. And the stranger, he's got like other embarrassing things in his own history that happened outside of AGDQ. I saw footage of this once in like a video essay, and I've never been able to find the clip ever again. But like the AGDQ guy, he was like doing a Twitch stream with his friend, and his friend was saying, what's the password to RDP into your computer? And the guy, he said the password out loud on the stream, and so random people in the chat like tried to RDP into the guy's computer, and the first person to get there successfully, he just took over the stream and he put Goatsy on the guy's stream. It's like, did that just happen? It's like, people are crazy. Yeah, I've never been able to find that clip again, sadly. Maybe I'm thinking of a different guy, actually. That happened to somebody. That definitely happened to somebody. So, did you guys hear that Smiling Friends is getting canceled? Ain't that some shit, huh? That just came out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know what it's like behind the scenes, but I feel like they could have given us an ending at least. Give us some kind of touching and heartfelt conclusion that rewards the viewer for sticking with the show. But I guess that's just out of the question. We're still getting 2 more episodes at least. I'm curious who they're gonna get to play Charlie's uncle in one of the 2 episodes that they're getting. The character's been talked up a few times. What kind of voice talent will they bring? Maybe they can get like some kind of old-fashioned like Italian mafia movie type of guy. Because people were joking back in the day that if it wasn't too late, he'd be like the perfect character to be played by James Gandolfini. That would really be something. You ever see that clip where James Gandolfini was on Sesame Street? Says, "Don't worry, Zoe. Sometimes I get scared too." Funny stuff. Anyway, switching topics. Since statistically about every other episode I go into the Criterion movies and such, I guess it's time for that again. So, last month I saw Kumarty. I keep talking about that, and it just clicked for me a day or 2 ago. You know, the main character of Kumarty, he's basically the guy from that episode of Aqua Teen with the, "And now we say the magic words. Arise, chicken, arise." Anyway, I just kinda noticed an aesthetic similarity here. Ugh. I feel like YouTube's AI would like mistake these aliens for something gross and like flag the video, and you put nudity in the video, you bastard. Stupid AI can't tell the difference between video games and reality. Just the shape of their necks, it's like if you've ever been to Chinatown, or I guess an actual Asian market, you know, they have the ducks hanging in the window that still have their necks that haven't been cut off, and that's always quite the sight. And there was that funny scene in A Christmas Story where they went to the Chinese restaurant and they tried to serve them a duck that still had its head on it. They're like, well, we can't eat this. It's still got its head on it. And the guy just looked at him funny and went, okay, and then bam, and he just chopped that thing off right then and there. Man, life in the 40s was nuts. I assume I wasn't there. That would be crazy if I was like an 80-year-old man making this. If I was just an energetic 80-year-old man. One of those hip young old folks like from the soda commercials. Radical. It's radical. Oh, goodness me. So the optimal strategy to beating this guy is you want to get enough elevation to get closer to the glowing area and then spam the grenades, like so. And that'll speed this up a bit. You know, speaking of grenades, you know, back when I was in school, where the hell's this story going? Back when I was in school, they had like a novelty iPhone app where like it would turn the camera on your phone, and then you'd point it at somebody and it would do like a little animation that would make it look like you were throwing a hand grenade at whoever the phone was pointed at. What a fun concept. Your buddy's just taking his math test and suddenly it looks like he's just getting blown the hell up. I miss novelty iPhone apps. I don't think that's a thing anymore. That really only existed in like that brief space when iPhones were relatively new and people were trying out experimental new concepts, and anything could be an iPhone app, and I guess the novelty kinda wore off. Those were fun for what they were. If you die, you don't get the prisoner's bonus at the end. You'd have to be crazy good at this game to get those.
Crazy good!